with a knife video for you. Now listen guys, this is going to be a rehash of something we've already done in the live video that I did on Monday past. If you're watching this a long time from now, just forget about all this part. But I tried to give you guys a first impression on these two knives from Steelwill. What we have here is the Gienah, I'm going to say. Hopefully that's close to being right. And over here we have the Shaula. Now, in my first impressions, I tried to, or in my live video, I tried to do a first impressions on these. It didn't go well. I was dealing with equipment that was not cooperating at the time, so I had to kind of hold things together in terms of my tripod while at the same time trying to show you guys these knives. And it just didn't work as well as I'd hoped. I'm not going to take down the live video or anything like that. It can stay there because there was some other discussion that went on, but I do want to do justice to these two knives because I really am impressed by them, and I want to give you guys a proper first impressions, especially, you know, I know some of you watch my videos trying to figure out, should I buy this or not? And I just don't think that knife does it justice. So that video does them justice. So I'm going to give you guys a little better look here. I can give you some close-ups, all the stuff that you're used to seeing. I'm going to get the Shaula out of the way and focus on the Gienah first. This is the newest of the two. There's already a few reviews, I believe, out there on the Shaula. So let's give you a quick rundown first off. So we have up here a D2 blade in satin. There are a number of blade options available, black, satin, and maybe a stone wash or something like that. I like satin blade, so that's what I went with. You can see it's sort of a modified clip point here, almost a spear point grind on a clip point or modified drop point blade shape, flat grind, fairly thick, robust blade overall. It's not super thick behind the edge, so it's going to cut okay, but the overall feel and design of this blade is definitely to be a little heavier duty and a little tougher and a little more, you know, sort of ready for anything. And that's going to be a bit of a theme on this knife. Moving from the blade down to the handle and all of that good stuff, we have phosphor bronze washers here, nested liners, thumb stud deployment, blue G10. Now there are a number of colors available as well as colors on the standoffs here. So it's standoff construction. I think what happens is with the blue handle, you're always going to get these orange standoffs. And see, even in that video, you couldn't really tell that they were orange. They're pretty clearly orange. We've got a lanyard stud back here, 2-position pocket clip. All right, and again, those nested liners. They're not too... Oh, nice. Okay, so again, let's take a quick look at that. As I said, this is first impression. Notice there's no steel on this side. It's just the steel on the liner side, which is a nice way of reducing weight. So that's a quick rundown of how this is put together. Let me give you the size and weight now that we've kind of gotten that part out of the way. So this is a pretty big knife, 8 7/8 overall, 3 7/8 on the blade length, 5 inches of handle. Now, nice big grip area. If you've got really big hands, this is probably a knife you'll enjoy. You can see, even with all 4 fingers here, I've got quite a bit left over. So you could have massive bare paws and still be just fine. 4.5 inches of grip area and 3.9 ounces. So for a knife of this size to weigh in at 3.9 ounces is really good. And they've achieved that by having just G10 on the show side, which is a great feature I really, really like. Let's move this guy out of the way and switch over to the Shaula. So again, we've got D2 on the blade here. High flat grind clip point with, again, a nice swedge there. Heavily textured G10, sort of a brick pattern on this G10, which I do like quite a bit. Large decorative pivot. Now notice there's only one Torx spot there, so hopefully this is restrained in some way. We've got a liner lock, bearing pivot, and the detent is pretty nice. I wouldn't call it a strong detent, but it's certainly highly functional. Moving from that large decorative pivot down the knife, we've got standoff construction again, bright blue on the standoffs, and they went with blue on the lanyard pin as well, sort of as opposed to the lanyard studs they've done down here on the Gienah. Now, oh yeah, I did want to point this out. You can see this is fairly well milled out as well to save weight. And so now that we've got that covered, let's give you size and weight on this guy. And by the way, like the other knife we looked at, there are variations of this. I think there's probably a black blade, there's blue handle, maybe red, something like that. So there are a few different variations on both of these. This guy we've got is 8 1/16 overall, 3.5 inches on the blade, 4 5/8 inch handle. Nice big grip area. Again, not as big as the Gienah, but 3 7/8 grip area, and it weighs in at only 3.6 ounces. So very nice to carry, very nice in hand. And that's the big thing with a thin, slim knife like this. You can always get a little bit of a concern that it's not going to have great ergonomics because there's just so little handle. But this is actually really nice. Oh, and I should have pointed out both of these. I already mentioned the movable pocket clip on the Gienah, but I didn't mention the movable pocket clip on the Shaula. Both of them do have 2-position clips, but are still going to be, I mean, the lock bar is still going to be a little awkward for someone who's left-handed. So listen, guys, my impressions on these two, to be clear, so that, you know, you can kind of get an idea. This is a big, heavy-duty user, you know, really nice, really beefy, well put together, cool design, comfortable in hand. So this is going to be sort of an EDC plus style of knife, although the price point is still not that bad. And then down here, this is more of an EDC style. It's a little lighter, a little easier on the pocket, a little easier in hand. Very comfortable, very good action. If you want, you know, if you wanted one of these for, you know, tactical or hard use or something, I'd be leaning toward this one. If you want something for regular EDC, I'd be leaning toward this one. Unless you just prefer something harder use all the time for EDC, which I know many of my viewers do. We got lots of Cold Steel fans out there, so I get that for sure. All right, so that's my first impression. Both of these are pretty well done. I don't have any big complaints about either one of them. I like, you know, there's nothing standing out as any kind of real problem. As I use them and as I get some time over the next month or so, you know, getting to know these knives, that opinion may change. But at this point, color me pretty darn impressed. A big thank you to Steelwill for sending these out. And if you want to pick one of these up, the Gienah is not in stores yet, but White Mountain Knives should have these in stock. Use my discount code SHARPSTUFF and you'll save yourself 10%. And I think both of these, I think this guy lands around, you know, between $50 and $60, and I think this one's between $60 and $70. Don't quote me on that. I didn't check the prices before. It's just what I'm recalling. All right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.